Hello, thank you, and welcome to your yoga class. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Jenny. This is a core and restore class, so we're going to move through some movements to engage the core muscles, build up some strength and flexibility, and then we'll settle into some of that heat that we've built in the body in a nice restorative practice. So props are nice to use. I like to have a block or two. This is good for bringing the ground closer, good for sitting, get a little lift in the booty. Blankets are also a nice bolster, a nice prop to use, again, for like a little bit of cushion. You can roll it up and use it like a bolster. If you have a bigger blanket, it can be that can be useful as well. And then if you have a cushion, bolster, any type of thing that you want to use later to support you, you're welcome to grab any of those. So yeah, take a moment at home to gather whatever props you may want to use. And we will just jump right into it. So we're going to start in a comfortable seated position. So find yourself there. As you saw, I like to sit up on a block. It gives me just a little more height. Gives a little lift in the booty, helps me to tilt the pelvis forward so I can sit just a little bit taller. So take your time as you're settling in. You can cross the legs, they could extend out, you could draw the knees in towards the chest. You could even sit on a chair if that feels better for you. And get all the wiggles out. You can send a sigh or two out of the mouth, maybe move the head around a little bit, and then slowly start to find some stillness. Start to settle into your seated pose. And as you do that, start to root down to your sits bones, connecting down to the earth or through a prop if you're sitting up on one. And then use that as your foundation, these nice squared hips, nice solid seat to stack the vertebrae. So you're sitting nice and tall. Everything is in line. The head is over the heart, shoulders over the hips. The shoulders are relaxed. So even though we're sitting with some intention, we're not rigid, we're not stiff, but we can soften in the face, soften in the shoulders, still having that integrity of this tall lengthening of the spine. Imagining drawing some energy from, the manifestation world of the ground, of our physical world, and drawing that upward towards our inspiration, our imagination, our creativity, and up. So just imagine that as you're starting to sit and just start to tune in. A little bit of a theme that I want to play with today came from a pranayama and sound bath event that I attended this week with the amazing Katie Shifkin, another one of our Mosaic Yoga instructors. Check her out if you haven't. But she offered a pranayama and a meditation, some intuitive movement. It was a beautiful offering, and one thing that she kept on coming back to is this idea of why we're here. And very often, especially in the yoga world, we think that we're here for enlightenment, to attain that ultimate goal of enlightenment. And when you really start to study enlightenment, you know that it's not something that you can force. It's not something that you just work your way towards. It's something that happens when you embody this life, when you embody the whole human experience, and you're able to observe it and rise above. So one thing that she kept on saying was, you are not here to become enlightened, you are here to embody. So that's kind of this idea that I want to play with, is embodiment, not enlightenment. And as you practice embodiment, that enlightenment is kind of a nice little side effect. They kind of go hand in hand. So let's really focus today on embodiment, really feeling the physical practice, really noticing the emotions that come up in that physical practice. Notice what each pose does, what it does to the mind, what it does to the breath, what it does to the body. And just really fully dedicate this next hour to yourself and to the embodiment of your practice. So that's where we're going today. So with this nice tall spine, finding a little bit of stillness, checking in with the body, just noticing. It's amazing how many people are disconnected from their bodies, and it can happen in many different ways and for many different reasons. But just take time to feel your body. Feel the physical sensations of your sits bones, your knees on the ground. Feel the structural integrity of your spine. Feel the heaviness of the shoulders. Feel the strength of the neck holding the head up. Just feel into your entire physical being. And let that be one of the anchors, one of the things that keeps you present. Start to connect to your breath. As always, we have different options of how you want to connect to the breath. The breath is one of the most challenging aspects of yoga, especially trying to maintain, a solid ujjayi pranayama practice throughout your physical practice. That's very tough to do. But there are ways that we can start to really tune into the breath, and that we can slowly build up to, maybe making it through a full practice with that ujjayi breathing. So one way is by simple observation, not changing anything about your breath, but noticing its natural flow. In this observation, you may naturally start to lengthen and deepen the breath, and that is awesome. That's getting us back to our more natural state of breathing, which is deep belly breaths. If you ever watch a newborn breathe, they use their full belly. And we tend to start to lose that as, societal pressures weigh down on us, as we, the fun adulting things come in, and we somehow start with all the stress and anxiety to shorten the breath, maybe even hold the breath altogether. So don't be surprised if in your simple observation of the breath, it starts to expand. Another way is with this observation to activate that deep belly breathing. So on the inhale, letting the belly press out, creating more space for the lungs to expand. And on the inhale, drawing the belly in, helping to press all that air out. So we've got the simple observation of your natural breath. We've got that slight manipulation of the deep belly breathing. And then you could also fire up ujjayi breath, bringing in an activation of those muscles in the back of the throat, which helps to give our breath an audible sound, an audible quality, a way for us to tune into it, a way for our physical body to connect. And that little activation, that oceanic sound, that kind of that starts to also activate our parasympathetic nervous system, helping us to get out of fight or flight, helping us to relax and release, and just helping us all around become more embodied. So pick your medicine with how you would like to focus on the breath. Allowing the breath to be part of the experience, to be a part of the embodiment of your physical practice today. And then we'll just start to bring some movement in with our breath. So releasing the arms down alongside the body. On an inhale, send the arms out to the side. Start to raise them up towards the sky, just as high as they come. It's okay if they're forward, a little bit forward if you're a little more tight in the shoulders, or if the biceps are coming more by the ears. Exhale, release back down. And simply repeat. Inhale, arms out to the side, raise them up. Exhale, release them down. Awesome work. One more. Inhale, send the arms out, raise them up towards the sky. Here, we're going to either just leave the hands here, if this feels okay, or interlace the hands, pointer finger points up. And then we're just gonna start to sway side to side. So a little pendulum action here. And we're not just using momentum to throw the body from side to side, really start to engage in the obliques. Use the sits bones and maybe even your mula bandha, your root lock. So activating the muscles in the perineum, like you're doing a Kegel or trying to hold in a flow or stop a flow of urine. So you get this lift in the pelvis, so you get support of the low belly. And then as we sway side to side, keep the hips grounded, keep the knees grounded, and then find activation through those obliques. Maybe the pendulum swings a little further. Awesome work. Now we're going to start to go through some circling here. So however that comes for you. If you want to circle through the belly, if you want to circle through the chest, if you want to circle through the arms, just kind of working through. And then reversing the direction of those circles. Fantastic work. All right, when you're ready, inhale to lengthen, reaching the arms up towards the sky, and exhale, release the arms down. Just roll it through the ankles, through the wrists as you lower down. Fantastic work. Now we're going to come forward to hands and knees. We're going to set up a tabletop here. If you need, just stretch out through the legs, maybe send them back, maybe wipe the knee sweat. Ugh, I got that going on. Okay, anyways, so let's find our tabletop. Take some time to figure out where it feels good for your hands. A typical cue is wrists underneath the shoulders, wrists at a 90 degree. That can kind of be intense. That doesn't feel awesome for me. So I like to walk my hands forward. I take them a little wider too to accommodate for this natural curve in the arm. And then for my wrists, I like to turn my fingers out so that my pointer fingers are pointing forward. I feel like that kind of takes a little weight off of my wrists, and this just feels like a more stable positioning for me. So take some time to figure out what feels right for your hands. And then we're gonna walk the knees back a little bit. We're gonna really start to kick into the core. So if you want, you can bring the knees together, you can glue the bottoms of the legs together. And then we're gonna start to shift forward through the hips. And we're gonna draw the belly in, ribs hug in, so we're in a modified plank here. And then we're gonna work some upper body strength while strengthening the core, so draw that belly in. There's a little tuck through the tailbone, so we're not dropping the belly all the way down into an arch, and we're not sticking the butt out, like a cat-cow type of thing. So we've got that little tuck through the tailbone, belly draws in and up, strong in the arms, press the ground away. We're gonna do little push-ups here. So you're gonna slowly lower down, elbows graze the ribs, just come halfway down, and then press back up. Awesome work, nice and slow. So we're building some strength in the arms, but let the connection come through the core. Activate Mula Bandha, lift pelvic floor, maybe adjust the hands as needed. Lowering down and back up. This is a great way to build up strength to work through chaturangas. A good way to activate through the core. We're keeping the spine nice and straight, and we're moving it as one solid entity. So we're not, dropping the hips down and rolling down, but we've got that nice length through the spine. Awesome work. We'll just do 2 more. Last one, lowering down. Press back up, send the hips all the way back to a child's pose. Extend through the arms. Feel free to stay here, or if it would feel good, release the elbows down, maybe raise the fingers up towards the sky. They can reach for same shoulders or hands in prayer. Little stretch for the triceps, little release for the back. Find your breath. Awesome work. When you're ready, re-extend through the hands. We're gonna come back up to our tabletop with those knees back a little bit, and then we're gonna lower all the way down to the belly. Now we're gonna play with strengthening through the back side of the core by playing with Cobra. And what we're gonna do, if you wanna get started, if you're familiar with this, is we're just gonna kind of flow through Cobra. So we're gonna inhale to lift up and exhale to lower down. Now, you can build up to this, you can take it to whatever level feels right for you. You can keep the hands connected to the ground. If they are, though, don't just press into the hands and press up like we were doing in our push-up. Kind of bring the hands a little more forward, and then think about pressing the hands kind of back so that you're activating those back muscles as you raise up. And then exhale to slither down. Awesome work. Inhale up and exhale down. Now you can also do this without the support of the hands. So if you really want to activate those back muscles, you can start to hover the hands, shoulder blades draw together, and then inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. So your choice how you're taking these cobra roll-ups and roll downs, whether the hands are hovering or whether the hands are pressing back. So it's almost like you're coming into a sphinx pose, but the elbows are hovering. Pressing back, activating through the muscle or through the back, and exhale, lower. Just a few more here. Your cobra might be higher than mine, it might be lower than mine. It doesn't matter, wherever you are, that is exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Fantastic work. We'll take one more here. Inhale to roll it up, and exhale to lower down. All right, so that was activating kind of in the upper mid-back, but you may have been feeling it a little in the low back as well. So now we're gonna take it really into the low back by activating through the legs. So hands, they could stack. You could bring the knuckles down and you could rest the forehead on the knuckles. Hands could be underneath the shoulders. You could be on either cheek. You could rest on a blanket, however you'd like. And we're gonna start by extending through the legs, finding some nice length in the spine. Toes pointed, pressing on the tops of the feet. Inhale, raise the right foot, knee, thigh. Exhale, lower down. Switch it out. Inhale, lift the right foot, knee, and thigh. And exhale, lower down. And we'll just repeat. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, lower. Take a few more rounds here. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling to lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Just a few more. Just raise the leg up as high as feels okay. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. One more each side. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, lower. Release here, maybe shake out through the hips. You could bend the knees. Take a little windshield wiper action side to side if that feels good. Now, we just did alternating legs. You can continue to work with alternating legs if that feels best in your body, or we'll bring in both legs. So once again, find that length in the spine, extend through the legs, press into the feet so that the legs are nice and active. Awesome work. When you're ready, on an inhale, we're either raising both legs or right leg up. And exhale, lower. Inhale, just left leg or both, raise up. And exhale, lower. Awesome work. Continue like that. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, raise. Exhale, lower. A few more. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, right leg up or both. Exhale, lower. I guess one more set. Inhale, left leg up or both. And exhale, lower. Awesome work. Again, feel free to shake it out, shimmy through the hips, knees side to side, whatever would feel good here. All right, guys. Ready? We're combining those moves. So your choice. I'll give you lots of different options here. So you can have the hands down, elbows in, toes pointed. And inhale, raise the upper body up. Maybe you just raise one leg and back down. Inhale, raise upper body and left leg. And exhale down. So that is one option, using the hands for support and alternating legs. You could use the hands for support as you press back and raise both legs. So in those hands, we're pressing back to help find some activation, but we're not just using the hands all together and bypassing any activation in the back. You also have the option to hover the hands as you raise the upper body up and do one leg at a time. Or with the hands hovering, raise both legs. And if you want, with the hands, if they are hovering, you can even reach back, which reaching back through the toes helps to open through the chest. Maybe you find a little more length or lift and lower down. So wherever you are, we are raising the upper back. We're activating the low back with the legs. Your choice what's going on with the hands, if you're moving both legs at the same time or one at a time, and just coming up to your version of lotus, whatever that looks like for you. Excellent work. I am feeling my back. Woohoo. All right, just a few more here. If you're alternating legs, go ahead and wrap up your last set. One more for good measure. And exhale, release it down. Awesome work. Once again, shimmy out. Windshield wipers, whatever would feel good here. Then when you're ready, hands underneath the shoulders, toes propped, we're pressing up through tabletop. And send it all the way back to child's pose. Maybe some circles through the hips, or some movement. Whatever feels awesome for you here. Whatever the body's craving. All right, how's that back feeling? Whew, mine is working. Now when you're ready, we're gonna set up our first downward dog. So again, take your time to find that solid placement for the hands. Find what works for you. Prop the toes, lift the hips. We'll come to our first downward dog. And take some time here. You can pedal through the feet. You can shake the head yes or no. Awesome work. A few more rounds here, just feeling into this down dog. And then when you're ready, we're just gonna walk the feet forward. Take your time. You can crisscross the steps, you can skip, you can jump, whatever feels awesome for you. Coming towards a forward fold. This is where a block may come in handy. You can bring the ground closer, you can bend the knees, but let it all hang out. Maybe pedaling through the feet, maybe shake the head yes or no. You could also grab opposite elbows, swing side to side. All right, now taking that same activation in the core, in the back muscles, we're gonna inhale to half lift. So the spine is extending out. Hands can come to the shins, they can come to the thighs, they can be on a block. But we've got the sits bones have a slight separation as the tailbone lengthens out. Top of the head, or crown of the head, is lengthening forward, gaze towards the ground. Belly is drawing in to bring support, so we're not rounding out and we're not, duck butting out with a big arch, but we've got this nice lengthening through the spine. Now this can be very beneficial to build up strength in the back without the pressing down of gravity. So this can be really good for posture. So if you want a little extra more, maybe the hands come to the hips, keep a soft bend in the knees. They could even extend out into a T or biceps by the ears. Fantastic work. So we're kind of in a pretty deep bent, hovering, almost chair pose, but with chair pose, the hips are usually drop down. The hips and the shoulders are in line in this one. So we're hovering here in our half lift. Root down towards the feet, use that strength in the core. Inhale to start to raise all the way up. Awesome work. Inhale, reach the hands up towards the sky. Exhale, prayer hands, heart center. Inhale, scoop the arms up. Exhale, if hands can, interlace pointer finger points up. Find that little pendulum. That's a little different here because we're not rooting down through the hips, we're rooting down through the feet. So there might be a little more sway. You could even bring the hips into this if that feels okay. The hips are coming forward or back, they're just going side to side. Same with the upper body. It's just swaying side to side, so the spine is still in line, it's just bending. We're getting that strengthening in the obliques. Nice stretch in the side body. Fantastic work. When you're ready, we'll come back through center. Inhale to reach the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, start to dive forward, but have that nice straight spine so that you're lowering down again through that half lift. Then exhale, round it out all the way down. Fantastic work. A few rounds of breath here. Awesome work. Now we're gonna step the left foot back, and then we're gonna turn the toes to face the left side of the mat, or whatever you need to be facing the television, to be facing me. So we're in wide leg forward fold here. Let it all out. Maybe there's a bend in the knees, maybe you shift side to side. Just take a few rounds of breath here, getting used to this forward fold with extended legs. Okay, then we are coming into our half lift. So again, find that length in the spine. Hands could be on the ground. They could come to a block. We've got that extension through the spine. The tailbone is lengthening out through the sits bones. Gaze is towards the ground, so neck is neutral. And hands could be, somewhere for support along the legs, on the ground. Hands could come to the hips. They could come to a T or biceps by the ears. Keep that soft bend in the knees. Core is engaged, belly drawing in, ribs hug in. Awesome work. Now, for an extra challenge, maybe the hands come overhead and the hands interlace and pointer finger points, and then we find those circles. That's really challenging. Maybe the arms come out to the side and you find some circles. Or hands come to the hips, to the thighs, to the shins, and we circle. Awesome work. Feel into this. And reverse direction of those circles. Check in with the knees. Notice if you've locked them out. Keep that softness. Strengthening in the core. Fantastic work. Come back through neutral. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release it all down. Ooh-wee. I'm feeling that back. Hopefully you guys are too. Excellent work. When you're ready, hands come to the ground or to a block. We'll bring that half lift in once again, and then we'll toe heel the feet in so that we can come down into goddess pose. So not too close together that when we bend the knees come past the toes, but not so far that, feels like we're trying to get into the splits. We're gonna bring the heels in, toes out. Inhale to half lift, extend arms out. Bend in the knees, lower the root down, come into goddess pose. Hands could extend, they could come into goal pose, You could come into prayer. Awesome work. Breathe here. See if you can lower the root down a little more. We've got that Mula Bandha activation. So the root lock. We're lifting through the pelvic floor, activating the muscles in the perineum, like you're holding in a flow of urine or doing a Kegel. That activation just travels all the way up, that support in the core. Maybe the hips lower a little further. Awesome work. If you want to play a little here, let's just raise the right heel. And down. And the left heel. And down. Maybe you just alternate with that. Keep alternating, or maybe try to come up on both heels. Whew, that's a challenge. Yeah, shaking all over the place, strengthening the calves, the ankles. Embrace the shake. Embody your body. Okay, here we go. Heels down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Toes come forward. Exhale, dive all the way forward. Excellent work. A few rounds of breath in this wide leg forward fold. If it would feel good, walk the hands over towards the right. Maybe the hands grab the legs. Maybe the chest comes towards the thighs. Head towards the shin or knee. Awesome work. If you'd like, switch it to the other side. Come back through center. Hands walk over to the left. And maybe they find the ground. Maybe they find a block. Maybe you can reach the leg. Chest comes towards the thighs. Head comes towards the knee or shin. Nothing forceful. Find the breath. Soften in the knees. Excellent work. When you're ready, back through center. Take that half lift, little blood flow back to the brain, and then we're just gonna walk the hands forward through a low lunge, pull that right foot back. And if you want, you can work through a chaturanga here. You can lower to the knees, maybe take a few rounds of those push-ups. You can come all the way to the belly, up to cobra. You could take an upward dog. And exhale. Let's take a child's pose. Hips back towards heels, arms extend. Ooh, that feels so good in my back. A few rounds of breath here. If it would feel awesome, walk the hands over towards the right, getting a nice deep side stretch in the left side body. Walking the hands back. If you're taking that option, bring them over towards the left, getting a deep right side body stretch. Awesome work. If you're taking that option, come back through center. We'll come forward through hands and knees, and we're gonna come into a seat. So however you'd like to get there, if you want to swing the legs around or whatever's clever, however you'd like to get there. Now have some space behind you for you to lie back, so maybe sit about halfway on your mat. Okay, knees wider than hip distance, feet planted on the ground, knees bent. Now, I'll start from this angle. So we're gonna lengthen up through the crown of the head. So we have this nice, tall, strong spine. Belly drawing in, ribs hug in, core is supported. Now you can either stay up like this or start to find a little lean back. The further you lean back, the more activation you're gonna get. What we don't want is to round out. We don't wanna fall back. I mean, it's okay if you fall back, but we want to have that nice straight spine. So we're not looking for this, lifting in the chest, lengthening through the spine. Okay. So whether you're here or you're here, arms extend or they can come behind the knees for support. So it kind of looks like a modification of a boat. Now from here, you ready for this? Extend right leg out and bring it back. Left leg out and bring it back. Right. Find your breath. Left. Right. Left. A few more. Right. Continue to breathe. Left. Inhale right. Exhale down. Inhale left. Exhale down. One more each side. All right, now right leg extends straight out, and we rainbow tap it out to the left and back. Excuse me, out to the right. Out and back. 3 more, out and back. Last 2, out and back. Last one on this side, out and back. Rebend in that right knee, extend through the left, lift up, rainbow tap it out to the left, and bring it back. Out and back, working the hip flexors, some quad, and some low abs. And upper abs if you're fully engaged. 2 more, out and back, and out and back. Awesome work. Plant those feet. Reestablish that connection to your spine. We're just going to take it double time with the kicks. Ready? Kick, 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 kick. Kind of fun. Kind of challenging. Find your breath as you kick, kick, kick. Awesome work. All right. And 3, 2, and 1. Bring the feet together, knees drop open, cobbler's pose. Oh, that feels so good on my hip flexors. Excuse me. If you have tighter hips or tighter low back, you're welcome to sit up on a cushion, on a block. Get that lift in the booty. And if it would feel good, start to bow it forward. Feel the body. Feel that heat you've just created in the legs and the core. As you feel ready, slowly start to raise up. You can remove any props that you may be sitting on. I guess we're going this way. And we're gonna bring the knees together, plant the feet about hip distance. We're gonna take reverse tabletop, just for a nice little counter stretch. Hands come back behind you, fingers pointing towards the booty if that feels okay, or they can rotate out if that feels a little bit better. Protect those wrists. All right, then we've got that length in the spine, the opening in the chest, pressing into the feet, press into the hands, engage in the core, belly draws down, ribs hug in, and then from that engagement, lift through the hips. Maybe the hips just hover a couple inches, maybe they come higher, maybe they come all the way up. I don't think mine are quite there. I've got some low back and hip flexor inflexibility, so this is where I got. You can start to send the head back. Just don't throw the head back. Don't just drop all that weight into the neck. But you can open up through the chest, through the throat. Breathe into the belly. A few more rounds of breath here. And nice and slow. Make your way down to the ground. Nice work. Now we've done some pretty good stuff in the back. So let's bring in eagle arms just to stretch through the back. So find a seat. Your choice. If you want to bring some hips into this as well, you definitely can. So if you just want to work on eagle arms, then just find a comfortable seat. Maybe you want to sit up on a prop. If you want to bring a little more into the hips, then you're welcome to take cow face. So bringing the right knee on top, crossing the legs. And what you want to do here is find the connection to the sits bones. You want the sits bones nice and squared. And then where the other legs or the other alignment cues, those will kind of work their way through. A lot of people say stack the knees. My body doesn't do that. So as long as my hips are squared and my sits bones are solidly grounded and I'm feeling this intensity in my hips, doesn't matter if my knees are in line or not. Flex back the toes. So this is one option, or just taking regular, seat. All right, so we've got the right leg crossed over the left if you're taking that option. We're gonna inhale to open up. Exhale, we're bringing the right arm underneath the left. Okay? And then we're gonna kind of crisscross, bring the backs of the hands to touch, or the fronts of the palms could touch. If either one of those, if your body's like, no way, crazy lady, then go ahead and release the hands down to opposite shoulders. Elbows are stacked, and elbows are lifting up and away. So so elbows are at least in line with the shoulders, but they can be higher. And you're drawing the elbows away so you get this opening in the scapulas, opening in the shoulder blades. Awesome work. So if you're taking cow face too, there's some intensity here. Some intensity in the hips. And in eagle pose, we got this intensity in our shoulders and our neck. If it would feel okay, maybe take the head side to side, getting a little stretch through the neck. All right, now we're gonna bring in a little bit of crunching here. So we're gonna bring the head back up to neutral. And then we're gonna really round out in the spine, engage in the core, and try to bring the elbows in towards the belly button. And then inhale, lift and raise, maybe a little arching through the back as the elbows lift up. And exhale, engage in the core, elbows drawn towards belly button. Inhale, raise it up. Last one here. Exhale, round it in. Open up more through the upper back. Engage in the core. And release back up. Open up through the arms. Shake them out. Awesome work. Now, if you're taking cow face and you want to switch it out, I'll show you a fun way. If you just want to open up through the legs, shake it out, totally fine. This is just kind of a fun little transition. So you're going to kind of twist over towards the left, plant the hands, and then you're going to untwist through the legs as you raise up, come into a forward fold, and then you're going to take it all the way to the other side. So take it all the way to the right, and then kind of crisscross those legs again. And as you come back down, you're in cow face, the opposite leg on top. You can practice that or you can skip it. It's just kind of a fun little transition. But it also feels good if you want to transition to just open up through the legs, shake them out, and then cross left leg on top. So again, just if you're taking that option. Definitely don't need to. But if you are, find that solid connection to the sits bones. Ground down into those sits bones so that the hips are nice and squared. We're lengthening up through the crown of the head, toes are flexed back. If you're not taking this option, you're just in a regular seated or hero's pose, on the knees, whatever feels awesome for you. Again, you can take this from a chair. We're gonna inhale to open up through the arms. Exhale, this time left arm comes underneath. And then you bring either the backs of the hands to touch, palms to touch, elbows lift, drawing away. If you're not feeling that today, just grab the opposite shoulders. Elbows are stacked, lifting up and away from the body. Maybe a little movement through the neck would feel good here for these first few rounds before we bring in our little crunching. Keep the toes flexed back. Connect to your Mula Bandha, that pelvic floor activation, root lock, Kegel engaging exercise. All right, little bit of crunching here. So we're gonna inhale, lifting the elbows up a little, arching through the back. Exhale, draw the belly in, hug ribs in as the elbows come down towards the belly button, rounding out through the upper back. 2 more like this. Inhale to lift, maybe a little arch. And exhale, elbows come in towards the belly. The elbows don't drop below the shoulders, but we're rounding out in the back. Awesome work. Inhale, open up, elbows towards the sky. Last one here. Exhale, round it out, opening up through the upper back, mid-back, core engaged. Awesome work. Inhale, come back up through neutral. Open up through the arms, shake them out. Uncross through the legs if you're taking that option. Shake those babies out too. Might feel good to plant the feet a little wider than hip distance, hands back behind you, and some little windshield wipers side to side. Fantastic work. Now, we're gonna get into a supported bridge. So for the support, you're gonna want either a block, a rolled up blanket, cushion, a couple stacks of pillows. I don't have my bolster, so I'm just gonna make do with what I've got. So you wanna come down to the ground. With the knees bent, we're gonna walk the feet in towards the glutes. Feet are about hip distance apart. Plant the feet down. Lift up through the toes. Press into the pads of the feet, spreading out through the toes, and then set them back down. Press down towards the feet. Press forward through the shins. And then from the belly, the mid part of the back, we're gonna lift, opening through the chest, exaggerating that arch in the spine, and we're gonna tuck the shoulder blades underneath. Maybe this is where you wanna stay. This is getting a nice stretch in the belly, nice back bending there. If you want to go a little bit further, as you press into the feet, shins press forward, you're going to press down into the shoulders, continue to lift the chest, the belly, and eventually the hips start to raise up. This is where your block, your props will come in. So you can slide maybe a folded up blanket, a bolster. Should have had my prop ready. A block. You can bring the block to whatever level, whatever height, or maybe a combination of props. But really what we're looking for is to get the hips above the heart. Don't have to go very far to do that. There we go. All right, so we want to be able to release the hips down for support. This is a great hip flexor stretch. Good stretch for the low back, a nice way to work in some back bending. So if it feels okay, if you want to take this a little bit further, you can maybe start to walk, maybe just the right toes away, just kind of see how that feels. Maybe nice and slow, starting to extend through that leg. Checking in with the hip flexor, with the low back. Maybe you try that with the other leg, kind of feel into that. And if it feels okay, maybe both legs start to extend. They definitely don't need to. That is going to bring in more sensation, more activation, and could be too much for the body today. So if your body's like, hold up, let's not go there, don't do it. That is part of embodying your practice. Listening to the body. When we push ourselves physically, if we're about to get injured, the nervous system does trigger, does give us a warning like, whoa, back off, you're about to get hurt. So in our yoga practice, in our physical practice, we want to stay in tune with the body so that we can receive those messages, so we don't just blast through those messages and force ourselves into something that's going to cause injury or harm. So that little spiel there. Having my legs extended was getting a little too intense on my back, so I'm going to go ahead and not have them extended. You're welcome to stay here in our supported bridge.
If you want to take it into a supported shoulder stance, getting in a little inversion here, so getting the legs above the heart. Then you can start to lift maybe just one leg at a time, 1 foot off the ground at a time, maybe they both do. And that can feel kind of nice too, drawing the knees in towards the chest, maybe finding some movement there. And then for your supported shoulder stance or your supported inversion, you can stay here with the legs. They could extend a little bit or they could extend all the way. So be here for a solid few minutes. So your choice with this lifting and supporting of the hips. If you want more of an inversion, maybe shaking out through the legs or spreading through the toes, rolling out through the ankles, or exploring larger movements with the legs. Or staying in your supported shoulder stand, supported bridge, working some back bending, maybe extending through the legs, getting a little more activation in the hip flexors. So really tune into your body. If you're wanting to settle into some peace and stillness, find that. If you are wanting to be a little more active and moving, then feel free to mindfully explore the movements through this pose. Another 10 or so breaths. Last few rounds. Awesome work. As you feel ready, if the feet are raised, lower them to the ground. Plant the feet nice and firm. Press into the feet, shins press forward. Lift the hips high enough just to slide the prop out from underneath. Nice and slow. Scooping through the tailbone, set one vertebrae down at a time. Ooh, that feels so good. All right, awesome work. From here, whatever your body intuitively wants to do. If it wants to take windshield wipers side to side, if knees want to draw in towards the chest, maybe hugging in like a ball, maybe taking a twist or two. Awesome work. All right, now we just did some back bending, some supported stretching of the low back. Let's take it to the upper back. So kind of similar idea here. We're gonna still use a prop. So a bolster can be nice here. I've got a block with a blanket on top. But basically what we want is we want to get a lift in the back of the chest. So kind of at the thoracic spine, the mid part of the back. So this is going to be a supported fish pose. So you're welcome to use like a rolled up yoga mat, maybe wrapped in a blanket as well. So if you want to take this and have support for the whole length of the spine, you can. If getting into this, if your body's like, this is not what I want to be doing today. So as we lie back, we want our prop to hit kind of at the back of the ribs. And then we'll slowly start to lie the head back, opening up through the chest. Now this can be pretty intense on the neck, on the shoulders, on the throat. So if it is, feel free to bring in a block, a blanket, something to support the head. Legs can extend out. This is probably going to be the most intense for your supported fish pose. You can also bend the knees. Maybe take the feet a little bit wider than hip distance, let the knees fall in on themselves. And you don't have to be super, super arched. This is actually a little too much for me. So I'm going to take my blanket off, unfold it so that I can prop my booty up on it so that my booty has a little bit of lift. And then as I come down, it's not so extreme of an arch in my low back. Oh yeah, that feels so much better. Arms can be alongside the body, they can be opening up into a T, they can splay out wherever feels right for you. Awesome work. Another minute here, maybe a little less, about 7 rounds of breath. And whenever you start to feel ready to come out, you're welcome to roll onto one side, or if you want to come up through a sit-up, bring the hands to the back of the head to offer support for the neck. As you roll up. Awesome work, guys. We did it. We are on to the best part, our Shavasana. So feel free to take any movements that feel good for you, anything that'll help round out your practice. Maybe a forward fold after that back bending that we were just doing. Maybe you want to take, I don't know, some twists, happy baby, anything that would feel good. Anything to help round out your practice, and then we're going to start to settle into our Shavasana. But take your time to do that. And when you're ready to take your final relaxation pose, you're going to take traditional corpse pose on the back, palms turned up, toes turned out. This may not feel awesome. If it doesn't, don't do it. You can use props to support you. You can slide cushions, blankets, anything underneath the knees for support. You could bring in something for the head. And if just being on the back in general isn't working for you today, then don't do it. You can lie on the side in a nice fetal position. You could lie on the belly. You could even come up to a seated meditation or sit in a chair. So take your time to settle in to your Shavasana. And as I said at the beginning, enlightenment is not something that you force. It's not something that you can just work your way towards. It does take intention. It does take hard work. But ultimately, it takes surrender. And that is what our Shavasana teaches us. Our yoga practice reflects our daily lives so much. We move through our physical practice just like we move through the physical world, with intention, with hard work, with a sense of control, or at least wanting to control. And with that intention, with our hard work, with the effort, the energy that we invest into people and into ideas and into things that we do, that does help to create the life that we live, the life that we want. But it also takes a level of surrender, of putting your intentions into the world, into the flow of energy, and then letting that flow take
that intention, take that hard work, take all that energy and love and sweat that you've put into it, and flow in the way that the universe has designed for you. And it's that aspect of surrender that is one of the hardest things for us to do as humans. We want to control things. We like to think that we are in control, even though usually we're not. So really embody this act of surrendering in your Shavasana. Fully releasing the body to the support of the earth, being held in this space, knowing that the world has your back. That nature is there to support you. Surrendering the breath to just its natural flow. And surrendering the mind. Allowing the mind to find peace in the present. They say if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. It's only in the present that we find true peace. And this is an opportunity that you've carved out for yourself, that you've given yourself this gift of this time to just surrender, to just be.